baby, you not showing up. Your LinkedIn is very dusty. Who cares about the no's? You're one relationship away from your entire life changing.
Where I had to kind of go back and dig and see
Yeah.
where do some of these limiting beliefs stem from? I got very caught up in trying to keep up with the
Mhm.
appearances. Welcome to Beyond Her Hustle, the podcast where we empower ambitious women to redefine success, find healing, and create a life of abundance beyond the hustle. Join me as we explore topics like financial literacy, healing, well being, relationships, personal and career development, and holistic success. Get ready to break free from the hustle and step into a world of limitless possibilities. I am your host, Sierra Nicole. Let's embark on this transformative journey together. Hey, and welcome back to another episode of Beyond Her Hustle. And today we have a super special guest. This is someone that I've been connected with on Facebook, and I feel like we're friends, but like we just met each other about 5 minutes ago. And so I'm so excited for you all to be able to meet Isi. She does amazing things and helps other women be able to get into the corporate world. And if you guys have been following my platform for a while, you know that I used to be very much against the corporate hustle, working 9 to 5, climbing that corporate ladder until I was able to really grow and mature and realize there's a ton of opportunity working with some of these larger institutions using the skills that you already have. And so Isi helps women do that every single day, which is why I wanted to bring her on the platform, give you guys a little bit about her and some of the things that she does so we can help you guys get to your corporate bag. So Isi, welcome to Beyond Her Hustle.
Hi, Sierra. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. No question is off. Like, you can ask me
I
anything
love
today.
it. I love it. Yes,
Yes,
I'm
yes,
all about value and no gatekeeping. So, guys, if
for
there's
sure.
any episode that you take down notes, it's probably going to be this one.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Absolutely.
So, Isi, can you tell us just a little bit about who you are and what your background is?
Yeah, for sure. So I am a business and career growth strategist, and I work primarily with Black women and women of color. And my big thing is helping them understand what they really actually want to do in this world. I'm all about optimizing for fulfillment. There's no point in living a life that you don't actually love or living a life because you see it on the gram or TikTok, but it actually leaves you miserable. So I really help people get clear what they truly want and get a strategy in place to get that, help them skyrocket their income, land their dream jobs, and live rich, lovely lives. That's like my whole
Love
jam.
that.
I am the founder of Isimemen, the brand. And so we do consulting, we do corporate consulting, going into companies, making sure employees feel like they are aligned in their roles and they're feeling confident and strong in the work they're doing. Then we work with influencers, CEOs, and leaders to make sure they have strategy in place to live their best lives. So my biggest thing is just transformation. I am Nigerian, so I came here when I was 5 months old. I grew up in the DMV area. If you guys know the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, I currently live in DC with my husband and my three beautiful kids. And I am a Jesus lover through and through. So I'm a big faith girl, love to have those conversations. And my parents wanted me to be a doctor. All immigrant parents are like doctor, engineer, lawyer. And long story short, I realized like that was really not for me. And I actually started my major as a senior in college, and I had failed a class, and I'm like a top performer. I don't do F's. And I really feel like God used it to show me, like, wake me up, like, sis, this doctor thing is not really you. And so I ended up networking because I needed people to know I was bigger than this GPA they were seeing. Like, I was that girl. And I realized that networking was actually a major key to landing dream roles. And I landed two dream roles, went after one, and was in that role for a couple years. And then I started to have that Sunday night sickness, in the pit of your stomach when you know you're about to go to work the next day, and you're just dreading it. And I was like, this is not it. I've always been a girl about my purpose, about being in calling, about being aligned. That's the only life worth living. And long story short, I was like, I need to help Black women understand that there's a game being played. What is the step by step strategy? Empowerment brunches are dope, absolutely. But where's the game plan? Where's the step by step? So I'm deeply strategic, decided to help my first client land her dream job. She came out of a master's program, no role, feeling lost. I was like, well, this is what I did. Let me put you on. And here we are, hundreds of clients
Wow.
later. running our flagship program Fulfilled. Women are tripling, quadrupling their salary. We just had a woman go from 50K to 200K total
Oh my
comp.
gosh.
I mean, I mean, I have stories for days, and I'll share my website so people can go check it out. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm all over the place, but that's the work I get to do day in, day out. And as you can imagine, I am very fulfilled.
I
So
love it.
that's my grind.
I mean, I just love how passionate you are when you start speaking about it. That's awesome. And it's crazy because and I know this is gonna sound silly, you guys. So if you're listening, don't laugh too hard. But I never thought that working in corporate America, you can even make salaries like 200,000. I always thought it was more so,
Mhm.
the CEOs or like the C-level executives are making those like multiple six-figure salaries.
Yeah. Oh, they exist. I haven't found out like there are executives making
Wow.
millions, sis. Like you don't know unless you know. And I think power is so, and I mean, one thing you are great at is you're on knowledge all day, all day. Like I remember when you got your role and you shared, like, listen, I got this role and I'm making a bag and I'm still making another bag. Like we need to stop gatekeeping and hiding. And I'm trying to teach my women to share their salaries. So my women are now sharing their salaries and their offers with their friends because they're like, sis, I'm going to make sure that no one undervalues you. So that culture of just sharing and transparency is so powerful. But yeah, she's on a team where they're like, isn't it time to go pick up your kids? Why are you still in this meeting? I'm like, you better have work life balance. So, I mean, it exists, but you won't know unless someone tells
That's
you.
true. And it's interesting because I've worked in corporate before. I was in the recruiting industry before I moved to
Mm.
Dallas. One thing that I don't know if this is the culture in all of corporate America, but I know a big thing that I was taught is like you don't share how much you make. Is that done strategically by companies?
So companies don't want you sharing with your colleagues because oftentimes there's intense pay
Mm.
disparity. Like I'm in a group right now. The woman's like her colleague, her male colleague, same level of experience because sometimes someone might be making more than you because they have special skill or special level of experience. So you guys might have the same title, but y'all not really on the same level. Same experience, same level, same everything. She's killing the game. He's making 40K more
Oh,
than her.
wow. If you are enjoying this type of content from Beyond Her Hustle, make sure you go to beyondherhustle.com and join our growing community. There you can find additional resources, exclusive trainings, workshops, and so much more within our community. So make sure you go to beyondherhustle.com.
So, and we've had clients, like I had a client who increased her salary by $50,000 in a role. So she's a lawyer, right? And she was doing some general counsel work at her company, but not feeling really empowered. And she let them know, I need to be making this much. Like we have a whole strategy where we teach you how to increase your salary in your current role while you find, your new role. And she was able to get 50K more. This other woman who's just a story I was reading, she's like, she's going to HR. She needs to have the whole conversation. So there's pay disparity. That's why a lot of times they don't want you discussing with your colleagues,
Mm,
but you got to start having that conversation. And then I think in our community, especially people of color, it's taboo to talk
yeah.
about money. John and them, they're putting their boys onto game. This is my total comp package. Make sure they don't lowball you. Make sure you ask for this many RSUs. Make sure that we don't really do that because we've been taught you don't talk about money. But I feel like this generation is now, breaking that barrier.
And it's so interesting because the corporate space is so different than being like a full-time entrepreneur. And so, I
Yeah.
recently, I don't know if I want to call it I'm in corporate because I'm working with a startup. So that could be a little bit of a different vibe, but it's so interesting because it is a different environment, but a lot of your skills are so transferable,
Oh
So
my gosh.
what was the moment for you where you realized that that was possible?
Yeah, great question. So going from, let me make sure I'm clear. Do you want to talk about going from corporate and working that full time job into entrepreneurship or helping my clients understand that you can go from entrepreneurship to corporate?
I mean, we touch on both ends of the spectrum?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, what's really interesting is it's about you as an individual, your power, your experience, your skills, your strengths, your mindset, what you bring to the table, and understanding that when you're clear on your value add, and what you bring to the table, you can flex in any space. That's the power. You are the prize. Like I did a post today. I'm coming into this level, so I'm about to start, really getting into my corporate game, right? So I'm an entrepreneur and I have this business, and I'm CEO, and I have a team of 8 incredible women that work with me. and I'm about to start going into corporate contracts. So in a way, I'm kind of going back into corporate, right? And now I'm also helping entrepreneurs flex into corporate, right? And then a lot of people in corporate are flexing into entrepreneurship. What is the common denominator to you? If you understand what you bring to the table, boom, you can get the corporate partnerships and do that corporate work, right? Or even do contract work. You can, boom, as an entrepreneur, decide that I want to break into a 9 to 5. I have a friend who just got a almost 200K total comp package, and she worked with someone on our team. She's an entrepreneur. So she was in corporate for years, came into entrepreneurship for years, and she's like, I want that corporate back. She's still making 6 figures in her business. But she's like, I know I can go into corporate and kill it. And now she has almost 200K total comp package. They're going to help her with IVF, like benefits out the wazoo. Insane. And so during her interview process, she thought being an entrepreneur was going to be, her Achilles heel and a weakness. They're like, yo, sis, you're a unicorn. You get this. We need you. So whatever space you're in, the biggest challenge people have is they are not able to articulate. They lack clarity. Oh my gosh, I could do a whole episode here with you on clarity, because once you're clear on what you want and what you do better than anybody else, you actually become unstoppable. When you get clear on your gifts, your value add, how you change a space, put me anywhere, coach. I'm finna kill it. But our people usually don't have that clarity. And then mindset, I do a lot of coaching around mindset. We do a lot of coaching around mindset. So if you've had managers beat you down, if you've been passed up for promotion, if you've had a failed business deal, all that stuff, if you let it weigh you down, you'll completely lose sight of your greatness. Instead of treating failure like acts that happen, you now take it on as your identity. So the biggest thing, whatever space you're in, either way, whatever way you're trying to flex, is understanding your value add, your brand, and how you kill it. And then all you have to do is show up and have the right conversations with the right people, and you're off to the races. So it's really
I
about
love
you.
that. I love that. And one problem that I see often, especially with women of color, but it's that imposter syndrome. I'm assuming you probably deal with that a lot with your clients because you talk about the
Oh,
value add, but it's very challenging to like see that in yourself when you are dealing with that imposter syndrome. Because I know it's something that I definitely deal with on a daily basis.
yeah, yeah. Sierra, let me actually throw this back to you. Why do you think, what's the number one reason that comes to mind for you, either way, why you had it or when you speak to other women? Why do you think women deal with imposter syndrome, especially women of color?
Um, I don't know if it's comparison. I was always taught that I had to work twice as hard to get what everyone else half of what everyone else
Yeah,
has. So I think a part of that
yeah,
mindset, because I grew up with that mindset, it's like I feel like the skills and the experience that I have is not enough for some of the aspirations that I have.
okay. Wow. First of all, the most powerful thing here is the level of awareness, because some people can't even articulate that. Then you start having to ask yourself, what mindsets and what beliefs have been drilled into me that are not true, that are keeping me from living my best life, that are keeping me from coming into the fullness of everything God has for me? That doesn't have to be true. But if you want it to be, it absolutely
Wow.
will. Is there systemic racism and sexism and all the isms and this ism? Sure, absolutely. But I always say, listen, if one black woman, I had a conversation with a woman who was like a director, high level director at like a really popular bank, and she works part time. I know her bag is crazy. Woman of color. And she's like, Isi, the things I've done, she's like, some of the health initiatives you've heard about wouldn't have happened without me. Black woman. So I'm like, oh, if one person's done it, baby, I could do it too. And if they haven't, I'll just be the first. So you have to be careful. I feel like we have a lot of people. If you do a lot of work around your childhood, or you go to therapy, God bless our parents. But a lot of parents have said things to their kids. A lot of aunts and uncles have said things in passing. In fifth grade, your teacher said something about your project and how you presented that completely killed your self confidence. So the first thing is you've got to go back and say, what was the first time that I felt like my power was taken from me? When was the first time I heard something that went against what I know to be true? And I love to get into the word. What does God, the author and creator of the entire, what does he say? Because he got the final say. And if he says I'm that girl, I'm that
Right.
girl. So then everything that's not in alignment with that truth, I've got to unravel it, figure out where it started, where it came from. Did I make a mistake? Did I do something as I developed and grew in my character and in my career? Did I do something that was like, sis, you weren't at your best? Okay, can I heal? Can I forgive myself and move on? This is the unraveling work we have to do to destroy imposter syndrome. Because Black women, we got the degrees. We've got the work experience. I'm sitting down with my women. They're like, yeah, I led 10 million in sales last year. Are you crazy? You did what last year? She's like, yeah, but I had a project and I answered an email late.
Sounds familiar.
You, you see what I'm saying? So it sounds funny, but the power also of having a coach who can hold a mirror. Like I'm big on coaching. I've invested over six figures, multiple six figures in myself at this point because I know my potential and I know I'm not all knowing and I need someone to hold up that mirror. And so sometimes it takes someone holding up the mirror and shaking you like, sis, here are your receipts. I don't even care if you don't have a college degree. You've been doing what kind of work for who? Showing up how? You do what at your church? You lead what group? On a girls trip, you plan the entire itinerary and you ain't break a sweat? So, oh, low key, you're a project manager? Like
Mhm.
what? You put all of it together and then you have the concrete evidence that you're that girl. But if you don't unravel the crap and stomp out the stories and negative voice, you don't have a chance. You don't have a chance if you don't deal with your mindset. See, I'm telling you, you don't have a chance, which is why you see so many people full of potential, completely unable to break through.
And that's something that I've been working on. And really, a big part of Beyond Her Hustle is me kind of documenting this process for me. But I've been kind of doing that work where I had to kind of go back and dig and see
Yeah.
where do some of these limiting beliefs stem from? And so
Yeah.
it's just very powerful. I feel like you're really speaking directly to me, but that's just a powerful realization to come to understand that you do have a lot more power than what you previously thought.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, absolutely. And if there's something you don't know, guess what? You can figure it out. Right? And so it's just we don't give ourselves enough credit. And then you talk about comparison. I tell people all the time, I do not scroll on Instagram. I have not scrolled on Instagram maybe going on six
Wow.
years. Yeah. On Facebook, Facebook is just text messages. We just cutting up. Da. Instagram is literally people's like, here's my perfect life. I will serve you perfection all day, every day. And my business experienced the most growth that it ever has. I have grown the most in my entire life when I stopped scrolling on Instagram. And I'm not trying to, it's so funny. There's a Bible verse that talks about flee from like every appearance of sin. And I think it's sexual sin. It's not like, oh, try to stand up and see if you're really strong to show who's, no, go put your running shoes on. So for me, I'm not like, oh, let me try to see how strong I am. I'm going to scroll on Instagram. This shouldn't be, no, no, no. I'm good. I'm
Right.
good. I'm going to take steps back because I need to be in a place where I look at my life and my husband and my children and my home and my setup and my office and be like, this is great. I am doing well. Because when we are served the consistent images, it's always something. Waist is not small enough. Hair is not nice enough. Skin is not nice enough. Eyebrows don't look good enough. House is not big enough. Car is not nice enough. She made this much last month. Man, it's nothing but that. And so I don't scroll. My friends know, like my friends that are my friends, you having a baby, I'm not finna find out on Instagram. You're texting me because we have a
Right.
relationship, right? So I'm not afraid of missing out on major things. If I see you and you tell me, cool, I'm dapping you, I'm super excited, but I don't scroll. So that has actually blessed me so much because I don't have that constant visual reminder of like, this is where you haven't hit your goals yet. It's like, yo, I'm growing and I'm going. So that is something really practical. If you can really fast off of it, and even if you use it for work, go on there, post your stuff, dip. Go on there, post, interact in your comments, go. At this point, my team, does my social for me. But absolutely, that's been a game changer because you brought up comparison. I had to share that. I share that with everyone that I
I
can.
mean, I can definitely see that being true because as someone who has been a influencer, right, content creator for the last several years, that I think is one of the factors of, I don't want to say my downfall, but kind of, because I got very caught up in trying to keep up with the
Mhm.
appearances because Instagram, TikTok, oh, I gotta, I have to go get a new car because all these other bigger influencer entrepreneurs have this type of car. They have this type of house. So I need to go and pay, 5 figures to live somewhere so I can have this image. And that's something that
Wow.
I dealt with over the last couple years. And just this year is when I really had my own almost like awakening, when I realized that you can't build a life based off of what other people are doing because you're just digging yourself into this hole. I went into a depression. Like it was just all
Wow.
bad. Like early this year was a very challenging time because scrolling through Instagram, you see all these things that you feel like you need to keep up with. And now when you're
Yeah.
in your whatever your career is, you're focused on trying to make more money versus doing
Yeah.
and fulfilling what you're really meant to do. And so that's a struggle that I am still recovering from.
Absolutely. And kudos to you, Sierra, again. The level of self awareness and honesty, that is why you're growing. That is why you're shifting. You cannot believe how many people refuse to admit to themselves, I'm actually struggling with this. I'm being influenced. I'm buying bags, not because I really like them, but because I feel like I need them from people, for people to buy for me. Like, I don't really have a lifestyle brand. I mean, I have a really beautiful brand. We did an incredible rebrand that reflects the level of transformation that we facilitate for our clients. Absolutely. I got a really nice bag last year and I like it. It's cute and I got a second one and it's great. But it wasn't that I was influenced, like, I have to get this to be
Mhm.
worthy. You know what I mean? To be able to show up. It's just like, it's cute. Yes, this is bomb. I loved it. And that's how I want to move. I want to move from a place where I actually like things. And that's why I'm getting it. Whether it's luxury, whether it's a trip, these things are not inherently bad, but I don't want to get it because it makes me. I want to get it because I actually like it. And so for you to be able to realize is so powerful. And that's why you're growing. And my prayer is that people hear you will actually go, wait, I think I'm stuck in the matrix. So I love that.
Yeah, and that, like I said, that was really what stemmed Beyond Her Hustle. Is to really try
Yeah.
to break free from that and really start to walk a more purposeful walk. I started reading a book called Purpose Driven Life. And that
Yeah.
triggered a lot in me to really just start to change the direction of the way that I'm just moving within my life and
Mhm.
within my business and career.
I love it. That book is so popular. I've seen so many people walk
Yeah.
through it. We have this whole process in our program that actually helps you uncover your purpose. And I always say you uncover your purpose, you don't discover it because it's in you.
Mm.
Discovering is like it's this outside thing over there. I got to go through the dirt. It's already in you. There's just been so much that's been piled on top of it that needs to be moved out of the way. And with the right questions, asking yourself the right questions, you can understand your purpose. And I truly believe understanding your purpose and calling is paramount. It centers you. You're able to make decisions from that place. You're not just chasing a bag or chasing every which way and every opportunity. You're not just burning out doing things you're not called to do. So kudos to you again. That's exactly where folks need to be starting
Well, I love
purpose.
that and I appreciate that. And one
Yeah.
thing that I want to ask you about, you mentioned
Yeah.
purpose and just really more so walking in your purpose. Do you think that women, or I guess really anyone, but women, do you think that they should look for a role or business that fulfills that right away? Or is it more so,
Mm.
do what you got to do, whatever role that you get, and then transition into something once you're more financially secure?
Great, incredible question. I love this question so much. So, whew, okay, let me go there. When people think about passion and purpose, you've got to be strategic about how they show up in your life. So we do this process in our program when we're figuring out our purpose. It's called the passion behind the passion. So, for example, you might be passionate about gardening, but what about gardening do you actually love? Well, I love seeing things go from seed to fruition, like into a tree. I love that transformative process. I love taking nothing to something. So, what I'm doing now is looking for roles where I can do that. Now, if I'm obsessed with trees, like, girl, I should have been a freaking agriculturist, right? Like, just obsessed. Everything. I love the environment. I love what trees do for us. Like, protect the trees, save them at all costs. You might need to work at the National Tree Association, right? As a financial analyst, right? So we're layering because if you work at the National Tree Association as their like librarian, you might not be able to feed yourself. But if you layer on the fact that, oh, I also like numbers. So that's how we do it, right? We help people find industries and companies that reflect things they love. And then we layer on the skill sets that they have. So yeah, be that financial analyst. Yeah, be the CFO. And you make sure all the money that comes in and out of that place, like the trees are being taken care of. But if the passion for trees, and we talk about how to prioritize passions, isn't that strong? It's really, I love transformation because I love how a seed goes to a tree, but I also love baking because I love how you could take an egg and take some flour and mix it up and it becomes a cake. Does that mean you should be a baker or should you be a tree hugger? No, you need to find the theme, which is I have to facilitate transformations and I need to do it strategically and step by step. I love it. So when we talk about passion versus what really makes money, it's strategy. There has to be a layering. There has to be a meeting of, okay, what is the marketplace speaking to us about? What are you really good at? Right. And not discounting, because oftentimes you'll have people say, well, especially back in the day, oh, you want to be a writer, you want to be an English major, you're going to be poor. Well, writing is a highly coveted skill. Now, if you're just writing, over here, Ugh. But if you take that writing and you layer it with an industry that's growing, writing in AI, or writing and you're writing really dope novels because you're that girl. I mean, when people read your writing, it's insane. Take that and layer it. And you might write for Disney. Do you see what I'm saying? And then if you have strategy, because I'm always like, you've got to be strategic with your career. You can't just let your career happen to you. You might know writing for Disney and writing for studios is like a couple years out, or I'm networking my way. So when the door opens, I'm running through it. For now, I might write for this science research company and they're paying me 110. Do I love everything about the science research company? No, but at least I get to write. So whatever role you find yourself in, make sure it speaks to some aspect of you.
If you are enjoying this type of content from Beyond Her Hustle, make sure you go to beyondherhustle.com and join our growing community. There you can find additional resources, exclusive trainings, workshops, and so much more within our community. So make sure you go to beyondherhustle.com.
And now, like, I want to save the puppies, so I'm going to go work for Puppy USA, making doggy bags. Like, huh? In the name of purpose and passion?
Right.
So that is like, as you can tell, I could probably do like a whole teaching on that, but that's how I want people to start thinking. Because when you start thinking about your purpose and your passion in that way, breaking it down by skill set, breaking it down by areas of interest, breaking it down by how you want to change the world, now you're cooking. And then you're able to get into roles in different ways and be like, well, I love this job. It's dope because it speaks to this aspect of my passion and purpose. Does that make
No, that's
sense?
good. That's really good because like you said, you often hear, especially in more creative roles, people say, "Oh, well that's not going to make money.
Yeah.
You're a writer." Even when I know content creation when that was still kind of a newer thing, people were not
Yeah.
taking it seriously as a career option, but like you said, really just being strategic in how you go about it and layering. I've never heard it put that way, but it makes perfect sense.
Yeah. And one thing I want to say too, Sierra, there are some people, like there are content creators that started 10 years ago, right? And they're eating like
Yeah.
crazy now, right? And doing really well. One thing I'll say, this is why it's so important to be in tune, spiritually in tune, walking with God, having coaches. If you're able to understand your gift and know you got a good thing, don't over strategize yourself out of using that gift. So if someone who's a content creator now and really reaping the benefits of it, someone could have told them like, oh, you like making videos? Do you want to be poor? They could have been like, I hear you, but I promise you it's deeper than that. I'm cooking with something. There's a level of gifting, there's a level of excellence. Like I see some of my influencer friends. I'm like, sis, how did you even make that video? Do we have the same phones? Do we have the same
Right.
brains? I could never, never. It's like a level of excellence and skill. Do you see what
Yeah.
I'm trying to say? That's not just some like, oh yeah, I like videos. And I hope it makes it like, no, she is in the gym. She's putting in reps. She's showing up. Her content slaps you in the face. She shouldn't let that go. So sometimes you might take that off beaten path because you're showing up and willing to show up at a level of excellence that others aren't. So you rise to the top. You cannot be ignored because you're that good. And I believe in that. Be so good they cannot ignore you. And a lot of people want to do things mediocrely and then put their hand out. or they want to be mediocre and then blame the man and blame all the other people. And in my program, we do extreme ownership. Baby, you not showing up. Your LinkedIn is very dusty. What is this? Why do you have 10 different roles you're going for? It's giving
Mm,
desperate. It's giving, I don't know what I want to be. But if you call me, I'll be a clown at your circus. So instead of blaming the system and all these bad recruiters, like I don't do that whole LinkedIn, let's bash this. No, it's
mm,
you. And a lot of people don't want to hear that. But if you come work with me, we're going to talk about the things that we can control. I don't have time to talk about Bob and Mackie and them and what they doing. What can we do to put you in a position where you are a company's answer prayers and you're undeniable? So there's some stuff around like being undeniable, being great, showing up in excellence, layering. But yeah, in this day and age, if you bout it, you really can do just about anything you
mm.
want.
I love that. And for a while, I felt like I was trying to kind of move away from what my gifts were because I thought, well, I felt like I couldn't really turn that into a career. I mean, obviously, I have my business, but now learning more, my skills with content marketing and community building, that's something that's very valuable to corporate companies. And so I
Yeah.
have companies reaching out all the time. I just had someone reach out. I won't say the company name, but it's a pretty large company. Most business owners have heard of them, but they're reaching out because they're looking for an in-house content creator, which is the first time I've ever seen anyone reach out about that. It's a six-figure salaried position to create content.
Wow.
And so
Wow.
I was someone who thought, okay, I can't really go towards what I feel like my gifts are in the corporate world, but
Yeah.
now I'm seeing that there's a lot of opportunity. So if there is an
I,
entrepreneur who is listening to this right now and they know that they have skills, but they want to maybe get to the corporate bag, like, can you give just a couple tips to start that process for them?
Whew, absolutely, yeah. The first thing is get clear on what do you want? How do you want to use your skills? Do you want to, if you were a coach, so I did a training with a friend who's also a career coach, and she's going back into corporate because she can. She's like, yeah, give me those checks. Why not? About to get a 6 figure role. Her business is still doing great. Her consultancy still has multiple 6 figures. She's like, yeah, I'm gonna do this, and y'all gonna give me these benefits. So we did a training, and I'm happy to share that with folks if they're listening to this. The first thing we have to do is, do you want to keep doing more of what you've been doing as an entrepreneur? Do you want to go back to your life, before corporate? Maybe you were just working with really toxic people. And I don't want you to be afraid because we're in a new day and age. Are there still challenges? Absolutely. But Karen can't just Karen like she used to Karen. There are boundaries. People are taking care of themselves. Like we are way more aware of when people are being mistreated and there are microaggressions. So one, the mindset, knowing that you can do this and there's opportunity. Two, if you have been working as a coach, do you want to go into training and development? Or if you were an accountant before, do you want to go back into accounting and then leverage all the genius that you have gain from being an entrepreneur, running your own company as a coach, mix those two, go into interviews and kill it? So you've got to decide what is it that you want. I think that's usually the biggest challenge entrepreneurs have when they're breaking back into corporate or devaluing. Like, okay, well, I worked for 10 years and then I have been an entrepreneur for 3 years, but I only really have 7 years of experience because my experience is stale and no, baby girl, you got 13 years of experience. So you got to make sure you're leveling yourself appropriately, honoring the level of experience you bring to the table. You're clear on what you want to do. And now that you're clear, it's time to start putting your materials together. That resume and LinkedIn, it has to speak to the new role that you desire. And if you're feeling a little rusty, it might be a good idea to invest. But my biggest thing is this: do not run to resume and LinkedIn people and you lack clarity because they're going to create stuff for you based on where you're at. So like for us, when we do our fulfilled program or where we do our entrepreneur, like we have a program, stressed out entrepreneur to well rested, well paid employee. It's like, listen, what do you want? Let's help you figure that out before we even touch resume and LinkedIn. So you've got to be super clear. Once you're clear, it's all about positioning and then beginning to connect. Reach out to your contacts, reach out to your OG contacts from when you were working in corporate because they still there, most likely, and then reach out to your friends, your community. Like I'm big on, listen, your friend's uncle might be a senior manager at Pepsi. And you might be like, oh, why didn't you even tell me? You never asked. I don't know you were interested in. being in marketing at Pepsi. So even this concept of like taking like your closest friends and family and sending like a BCC email or sending some text like, hey, I'm back out. I'm looking for this and the other. Do you know anyone? Could you introduce me to 2 to 3 people? And I always say networking. I love people to get jobs through networking. That's how we love to do it. People opening the door from the inside. They have a conversation with you. They're blown away. They're like, I don't know who you are, where you're from, but we need you at our company. Do you see any roles? Can you go to the website and look for any roles and then message me and let me know which ones you're interested in? Let me like fast track your resume. Because a lot of times people also get referral bonuses, right? So it's a win-win for everybody. And it makes them look good because they're helping to fill roles at the company. So that's what I would really say. That's the short of it. It's clarity and getting your materials together and then beginning to network and connect with the right people to help you get into those
You know,
roles.
networking is so much more powerful than what a lot of people realize. And that's actually how I was able to land my position with the fintech company was through
Wow.
networking. So I met the
Wow.
CEO at a panel sometime last year, and we met and we
Okay.
stayed connected, and I helped him out a few times as far as just with their marketing. Made some posts, helped them get some users. I wasn't getting paid for that, but I was just doing it as far as building a relationship, and ended
Wow.
up being able to land this role because of that. I didn't really go through the traditional like interview process for it. And so I think people really sleep on the power of networking and doing it strategically when they're building these relationships.
Absolutely. What a game changer. And Sierra, for you to be so strategic, because everyone's like, yeah, don't do anything for free. What do you mean? Da, da, da. And it's like you have the last laugh. So I know you don't do that for all your clients. I mean, you make money doing this stuff, but it's like you were strategic. There's something about, okay, I'm gonna feed this relationship. I'm gonna put some deposits in the bank. I know it'll come from it, but yeah, it doesn't cost me anything. I could do that, did it. And look at you
Right.
now with a 6 figure role that you didn't really have to interview
Right.
for. It's
Powerful,
awesome.
and
Yeah.
that's what I go by, the philosophy of really being a go giver, because sometimes you do have to give before you take anything. And that's really,
Yeah.
I'm really big on that, with adding value
Yeah.
to people that you meet and people that are around you, because those relationships, you never know what they will develop into.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, my husband is a master networker, and watching him, I'm just like, bro, the things, and it's crazy what's starting to happen is he's starting to network and he's starting to connect people in his network. And there's almost nothing as valuable as you putting on someone with someone and then don't let them do business together. So he recently connected like a mentor and someone else, and those two people are now doing business. Like money is being exchanged. Oh, forget about
Wow.
it. They love, like my husband's mentor signs off the emails like, love you, bro. Like, what are we doing next? And so I just know like he also has a consulting company. Like when he drops his offer, what? He's not gonna be on social with us. Posting, trying. No, it's phone calls, 5, 6 figure deals, period. Because he's put in that networking. He has great, and he's not even doing anything super special. He's just being present. He checks up on them. How are you doing? Hope you're having a great week. Let's go. How are you? How's family? And they just love him. And he just doesn't stop networking and connecting. And he's the one that taught me, like, listen, I don't care if I send out 1,000 messages. All I need is one person. And that's what we now teach our women. Who cares about the no's? You only need, you're one relationship away from your entire life
Mm.
changing. Complete life transformation. Whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a business owner, whether you are in corporate, one relationship. Oh my gosh, one conversation. Someone can just be like, oh, we have something coming down the pipeline, and it's happened to our women. I need you for this connection. Oh, I know somebody. Boom. And before you know it, that's
Wow.
it. So it's worth it to continue to have conversations. And even as you have conversations, it's okay. It's so funny. I know this is very taboo. Everybody wants something in life. It's not a bad thing. But make sure you lead, even on a mind and a subconscious level, with an authentic desire to actually know that person and to value them as a human being and not as a stepping
Yes.
stone. Like really learning, like, Sierra, tell me about your journey. Like, you've done a lot. What's up? And that authentic interest in them and not just looking at them as someone who can produce opportunities will take you really far because people can feel that. And it's okay if you hope that, yo, I hope big bad things come out of that. That's not a bad thing. But do not lead with that energy or it's going to be felt. Or you're going to be like, oh, I'm just a user. I don't want to network. Everybody wants something in this world. And that's all right. But can you be an authentic person and have an authentic conversation? If you have that mindset, man, you're just gonna fly.
And it's really powerful that you say that because it's true. Having that authenticity when you are building relationships, especially as you're networking and you're maybe newer into either the corporate space or the business space, and you're trying to connect with people that might have a lot more experience or accolades than you, it can be challenging because a lot of times you go into it trying to get something, and it's hard to connect with people like that because they are not going to typically entertain people like that. And so learning how to be more authentic and genuine when we are connecting with people can go a long way.
Absolutely.
I love that. And I know
Absolutely.
that you mentioned that you did networking towards the beginning of your career, right? That helped you land some of your dream roles.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. It's crazy. So the two roles that I actually got offers for, one of them I essentially networked my way into. Even though I had a GPA, like it started off as like an internship, and a friend saw me. She's like, "EC, I know you're a killer. Let me connect you to the recruiter." Connected, and they gave me a scholarship. They sent me to Australia, and it's funny. At the end of the day, I ended up not taking their offer because I felt led to go in another direction. But I absolutely networked my way by the grace of God into that. And then the second one, they had kind of scouted me and had been having conversations with me and let me know, like, we want you. Like, yes, you're going to go through the formal application and interview process because we need to have you, but I've been watching you and you're that girl. We need to make something happen. And when I was transitioning, it's funny what inspired me creating Fulfilled in this whole program is when I left my role, I was really unhappy. I started applying and nothing was working. And I was like, what did I do in college that worked? Oh my gosh, I networked. Call a friend, boom, I get a
Mm.
contract. And I was like, okay, you know what? Who is teaching people that look like me how to do this and to do this well? And like my first thing I taught was network like a boss. And that's how I helped the first young lady I worked with to land that dream job. And then from there, we built out the entire curriculum. I spent like 9 months. And people were like, you're taking too long. I was like, if I'm going to charge, it is going
Right.
to work. Like this is practically ministry for me. Like this joint got to work. And so I worked on it and we brought people in, transformations, leveled up. So we've been working on this program for years now. I mean, at least 5 years maybe. So I know a lot of people, it's okay to transition, but I've been doing this. And we just keep finding ways to make it better because we are obsessed. Our goal is that 100% of the women that work with us do not leave the same. So that's the work we're doing now and love it, love it. And so networking is absolutely key.
That's powerful. So, do you mainly work with women who are already in corporate and they're looking to level up their career, or is it people that are trying to transition into corporate?
Yep. So our fulfilled program, our flagship program, we focus on women who are in corporate looking to
Okay.
level up, make more money, be, fulfilled, come into alignment. And now we have a new program on the market, myself and my friend Dorian, where we are taking people from burnt out entrepreneurs to well-rested employees through our process. So we have that program as well. And some people, they want to keep their roles, right? Like they want to keep their entrepreneurial work. And we're like, cool, we just want you to have options. If you want to take a break from your company, you can, and your entrepreneurship, you can. If you want to do it on the side, you can. But you know what it's like, Sarah, to be like, man, I need to make this post. You don't have to come from that place anymore because you already have this going on and you might just need a break. We just want to give people options. So we have that program as well.
When you are working with women who are in corporate, they're working a job and they know that they're not where they want to be. What are some of like the challenges that you typically see? Because I'm sure that there's a lot of women that could relate to some of your clients with, some of the struggles that they're
Yeah.
facing in their career or, feeling stuck in what they're doing.
Yeah. Wow. What are the challenges? Whew. The first one, like, do I even deserve more? That's a real one. Like, I've been watching Isi, I've been listening to her. Okay, it's making sense. Am I asking for too much?
Mm.
Should I just be content? And a lot of women come in our calls like, Isi, like, I can't admit to my friends. It's hard for me to admit to people that I'm not happy because our women come, they're not like, just making 30K. We have women coming to us making 70, 100, 90, one this, 50, 60, XYZ. And people are like, oh, you should be happy. But they're like, I'm not. So it's the challenge of, man, I do deserve more. Not because I'm greedy, not because I'm bad, but when I do the math around my experience and how I'm changing this company and the fact that I haven't asked for more money in years. You miss out on over $1 million in a lifetime when you do not negotiate your
Wow.
salary. And most of our women do not negotiate. They don't have the confidence. They don't understand. They're afraid of losing the offer. And I'm like, these companies expect you to negotiate. Almost no company gives you the top of the band when they make the offer. So there's space. And it shows your leadership. It shows that you're fearless. It shows so many good things about you. And it's not a fight. Negotiations are not fights. We're not going to war. We are literally having a conversation to make sure we're both happy. So a lot of mindset shifts have to happen there. But they struggle with that. Like, do I deserve more? And then for those who do, they're like, I don't know where to go. So many people lack clarity, Sierra. Like, they just kind of stumbled into their careers. And there was not that 1, 2, 3, this is what I want to do. Reflecting on my gifts, my strengths, my passions, my calling. Okay, engineering, no one's doing that. And I always tell people, what took me 10 years, I wanted to take you less than 10 weeks. I've gone through all this stuff so that you don't have to, which is why we have a proprietary process on how to actually figure out your gifts, your strengths, your purpose, your calling. And then we have a whole process around, we call it joyful job, how to uncover roles you didn't know existed, making money you didn't know was possible at companies you didn't know were hiring. So that's another challenge. People just don't know what's out there, right? Like, we had a nurse come to the program and she found this role. I don't know if it was like a nurse. It's like a data statistic thing for nurses. Even I don't know all the roles out there, right? And she's like, oh my gosh, Isi, this is me. It's like a little bit of healthcare, a little bit of numbers, a little bit of project management. Oh my gosh. And then when you grow up, the only jobs you know are like doctor, lawyer, nurse, like teacher. So it's not our fault, right? There are hundreds of thousands of roles. And so people not even knowing what's possible, that's another challenge. And people just feeling stuck. Like, do I go get another degree? We've had people come to the program and drop out of their grad school program. Like,
Wow.
wait, I actually don't need another degree. I actually just need a strategy and positioning. So it's just like not knowing what they don't know. Those are the main challenges we see. People are burnt out. People don't have work life balance. People think that they have to work all these hours to prove to their boss that they're serious. But it's like, what you do and how you talk about what you do is more important than how much you're
Mhm.
doing. So the whole strategy around how to win in corporate, we talk about that. How to fight for yourself. And you're not fighting, you're just talking. I mean, I have stories for days. And so a lot of our women, they lack these skills. And it's not going to happen by osmosis. If no one teaches you, you
Right.
won't know. And that's all our work, to teach you as much as we can in our 12 weeks together. And then we have an alumni group where you stay with us for life. Every month we pour into the alumni, girl, how you doing? We checking in. And someone just told us the other day, like, yeah, I networked with this lady and they created a role for me and now I have a new role.
Wow.
They just created it for me. Like, it was really
That's
good.
amazing. And I love that you mentioned the salary negotiation because I always thought when you get a job offer, like that's it. That's what they're offering you, so you can either take it or leave it. And so I never
Mm.
knew that you could actually negotiate how much that they were going to be paying you.
I was say, Sarah, how much time we got? Because that's another conversation. And it's so funny when you told me about your offer, I was like, I hope she negotiates. I hope she negotiates. Negotiation is so important. And you negotiate money, you negotiate sign on, you negotiate base, sign on bonus, benefits, educational stipend. I mean, there's so much. It all starts with research. It starts with mindset. It starts with understanding. And if you've been underpaid for so long, that's why sometimes we have women come in our program and their salaries jump so dramatically because they've been underpaid for
Mm,
so long. Why have you, I mean, see, if you hear some of these stories, because everyone gets like free, career clarity calls with us and we find out what's going on with them, what's not working, what's working. If we figure out like, hey, we can help you, we'll invite them in. I mean, I've had women making 40K for 10 years. I'm like, this is a crime. Like, who should we arrest? Who am I calling the cops on? What is
right.
this?
Oh my goodness.
People making 50K and they're doing next level work. People making even 100K, but it's like, sis, you are missing out on 50 grand. And because they don't ask each step of the way, they just, oh my gosh, they don't even understand what they're worth in the market. So negotiation is so important. It's not a fight. It's not disrespectful. And if you have that mindset, like, oh, I should just be grateful, I just got a job. Do you know how much money you're about to make that company or save them? You think people give out jobs because it's Christmas? You think they gave you a job because they like you? They gave you a job because you're going to come meet a massive need. You're either about to come in here and make them a whole bunch of money or save them a whole bunch of money. You are the answered prayer. And you not being in that position, they've lost productivity, they've lost money. There's someone that they put dump the work on that's on the edge of burning out and quitting and rage quitting. So they need you as much as you need
Mm.
them. Don't get it twisted. So you got to have a healthy relationship and understanding with your role and the money they're paying you. Because if they paying you well, baby, believe you saving them or making them lots of money.
And I love that perspective because you really don't usually think about it that way when you do get a job, that you are making them
Yeah,
or saving them some money. So there's a lot of value there. And I know that you mentioned earlier saying that
absolutely.
you are the prize, and you are. But I've never really
Yeah.
heard of it from that perspective before.
Absolutely. And you being the prize being said in a way that's not like a, oh, y'all need to pay me $500,000. Do you know I am? Nobody cares about nasty attitudes. Nobody wants that
Right.
energy, right? So it's a very sober understanding of, hey, let me do the math. Let me look at what's in the marketplace and what the going rate is for this role. Let me look at my experience. Let me sit down and actually look at the projects. Let me tell you, Sarah, the biggest thing one of the biggest mistakes people make is they work every day and they don't take stock of their wins or how well they've been doing on projects. And now it's time to like do a new role or update their resume. They can't remember. You absolutely have to have a brag sheet.
Mm.
You should be meeting with your manager one on one at least once a month, if not more. And you're talking about updates on the project's wins because you're brainwashing them into understanding that you are that girl. So when it's time for promo, they're like, what? It's not even a question. But sometimes we think, oh, our manager's against us. The manager is managing up, they managing down, they managing their kids, they managing projects. It's not their job to carry the weight of your entire career on their shoulders. Now, do they have work to do and understand they should be taking notes? Absolutely. But make it easy for them. Like you pull out your brag sheets, like you did what on where? Uh-huh. I didn't even know you were killing it like this. Yes, ma'am, I am. And so people have to start doing that so that when it's time for promo and asking for more money or going to the next role, they have a whole entire sheet of wins to pull from and not like, oh, this is what I did the job. Nobody cares what you did. How did you move the company forward in your role? That's what your resume should be talking about, which I know is a whole other conversation. But absolutely, people don't understand their wins. They don't understand their value. So they undervalue themselves and the cycle
And
continues.
I think that is something that business owners need to do as well. Because there's been
Mhm.
times where I've had to go back and, okay, actually put into words some of the things that I've achieved in my business and working with people, but because I didn't really keep track of the different results and the KPIs, and I didn't really have that to show anyone. So I think that's
There you
great
go.
for business owners to start keeping track of their wins, of those projects and those clients. So then you can come
I love
back
that.
and say, I helped them grow, this percent. We hit this KPI, like actually keeping track of the data.
See, it's so funny. I love that you said that because we do it so naturally at our company. Like we have helped people increase their salary, get new salaries worth $4 million in the past
Oh,
couple of
wow.
years, right? We take screenshots of our client wins. We have a whole client testimonial database. We have a whole page on our website. It's like never ending. You just keep scrolling. It's win, 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 win. And so if anyone ever comes to us like, "Oh, are y'all scammers or do y'all really do this?" It's like we have receipts. We're stashing it away every day for when that day comes, we're able to pull it out because we're not going to be scrambling looking. So I love that for business owners. You've got to keep track of the impact in your
Oh,
wins.
absolutely, you do. And this conversation has been so impactful, and I just so appreciate all the insights and the value that you've been able to give, and even me sitting here learning a few things as well, because the corporate space is
Yeah.
something that is newer to me, but I know that there's so much opportunity there. And even
Yeah.
recently, I've been learning more about corporate contracts and learning that as a business owner or a consultant, you can work with these companies and not necessarily be employed, but pop in and do what you do and be able to make money from that. It's just the opportunities
Absolutely.
right now are just so vast.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I totally agree. And you and I can talk more about that corporate contract stuff because that's where I'm going next, girl.
Absolutely. We could talk
Yeah,
offline.
absolutely.
But you see, I just want to say thank you again. And for anyone who is listening to this and they want to connect with you online, where can they go?
Absolutely. So I'm all over LinkedIn. I'm the only Isimemen Aladejobi, as you can imagine. So you can find me there. I'm on Instagram. I'm at Isimemen, just my first name. My website, www.isimemen.com. You'll find me there. And if you want a really dope training on how to land those dream roles, making $50 to $100,000 more in the next 90 days, I also have a really dope training. You can just go to isimemen.com/start and dive in. I think you'll really enjoy
Love
it.
it. And I'll make sure before we publish the episode, we'll get all of your links so that we can put them in the description of the podcast so that you guys can go and check that out on the website. But this
And
has been great. Like I said, I learned a lot, and it's just conversations I believe that need to be had because you don't know what you don't know. And sometimes it can
absolutely,
be very taboo when we're talking about the type of salaries that we're making in the corporate world. And so I just appreciate that you're out here bringing this awareness for women, specifically women of color, so that, we can go into the marketplace and be confident.
absolutely, absolutely. We are so gifted, Sierra, beyond what we understand. And sometimes it just takes someone looking you in the face and reminding you of everything God is putting you. And I'm determined that's my life's work.
I absolutely love that. Well, Isi, thank you so much for being a guest on
Oh,
Beyond Her Hustle. And thank you,
yes,
everyone who is tuning in and listening to this episode. If you are listening to us on Apple or Spotify, please make sure that you are leaving us a review. Tell us what you think about this episode. You can also catch the video version of this on our YouTube channel and our website, beyondherhustle.com. So I appreciate you all for tuning in, and we will catch you guys on the next episode. If you are enjoying this type of content from Beyond Her Hustle, make sure you go to beyondherhustle.com and join our growing community. There you can find additional resources, exclusive trainings, workshops, and so much more within our community. So make sure you go to beyondherhustle.com.